Toshnik, the question is, what type of turnover rate is typical for residential clients? So I can't give you a firm turnover rate, but I'll give you some things to think about where you can kind of back into this. The reason I can't give you a firm one is because it varies for us from year to year, and then it also varies from market to market. So depending on, so here's the first thing that's going to go into this. So this should be your biggest reason for turnover or attrition, and that is how often are the homes turning over in your market. So this is easily figured out by finding out with a uh, local utility company or by finding out with the local realtors what is the average turnover rate. Also, your mail houses can tell you this, the recency of lists and such. Well, without going there, the point being there's a couple source places you can go and find out how many homes are selling. So in my marketplace, not uncommon for 20% of the market to turn over. A lot of people moving in and out of my marketplace. A lot of business executives and business people moving in and out. A lot of people that, anyway, point being, a lot of people moving in and out. So you could have 20% right there. So I could be losing 20% of my residential clients theoretically a year simply based on the turnover rate of the average homeowner staying in their homes in about 5 years in our marketplace. So my understanding is now with the downturn in the economy that number is extending out a bit. So it might go to 6 years. So we're still looking at a 17% or so attrition rate just simply based on averages of how many people might move out. So clearly you've got to replenish that percentage of your client base. So, but there's strategies you can use there to get them. So you need to put a system in place to go have a procedure that when a homeowner moves out, you go and get the new homeowner. So you can whittle that number down where you're losing them, but yet you're picking up some percentage. So maybe you're losing 15% of your clients per year to moving out, but you can recapture 6% of the new homeowners that move in. So your true net loss is going to be about 9% on homeowners moving out. So that's one thing to think about. You're going to have some number of people that are flat out or that are dissatisfied with you. We think we do a pretty good job at our company, but we're also not cocky. We know that we can always improve, and we know that we do drop the ball from time to time, and we do make mistakes. So we think that periodically we legitimately lose a client because we screwed it up and couldn't recover from it. But we also believe that we lose a nice number of clients, and it's really not a high number, but we lose some clients that get logged in Service Autopilot, our software system, as clients that were dissatisfied with us. At the end of the day, you can't win them all. You just can't. You're not going to be able to satisfy everybody. If you try to, you're going to burn way too much money trying to do it. Some people can't be satisfied. So you're going to have a few clients that you lose each year. I don't know what that percentage is going to be. It varies every year for us that are going to walk out the door, and you can't really do much about it. So our dissatisfied rate has dropped over the years as we get better at what we do and we learn more. We are also going to lose some people because they lose their jobs. So that number's way up for us right now. Or another number that is way up for us right now, and I can't give you percentages because, again, it varies from year to year, but these are some of the smaller buckets that you can categorize why you're going to lose clients. So the smaller bucket here is going to be, it's a little big. It's been bigger for us in the last 2 years. People are cutting back, and so you've got some number of clients that are cutting back on their expenses and they're getting rid of lawn care, and then you've got some number that have lost their jobs and they have to do the service it themselves. So again, none of these are huge numbers, but you're going to have some small percentage of your clients are going to turn over for that reason. You're also going to have some client turnover because people simply fail to pay their bill or their credit cards don't go through, and then you can't collect from them and you've got to fire them. You're going to have some number there. You're going to also have a nice large number of people that you can't get an answer from on why they canceled. My theory on that one is they're dissatisfied with you, and they don't want to actually admit it. The other is that they can't afford it, and they're having to cancel for financial reasons. They can't admit it. They don't want to admit it. And then the third is they're price shopping you, and they've gone to somebody cheaper, and they don't want to necessarily reveal why that is. Or some people will email you, and they'll cancel service, and you just can't get them on the phone to get the answer. So your biggest loss rate is going to be from people moving out of their homes. That's going to be the one that hits you the hardest. And every other one, unless you're really screwing up the jobs, is going to be a fraction of what the number is for people that move out. So can't give you a percentage turnover rate. maybe 20%. I've heard numbers thrown out of guys saying they lose 50% of their clients a year, and that's astronomical to me. But again, I don't live in certain states. Maybe there are states out there where the economy is so horrendous right now that that's happening. But I will say this, through our company Service Autopilot, I have clients all over the country in probably every single state, and I don't hear those stories. And I've got clients that range from guys making, that are just starting and are going to make $10,000 their first year to guys making millions. And so I get to talk to a lot of people and have firsthand conversations, and I don't hear about these crazy attrition rates. So I don't think that you need, if you've heard those numbers, I don't think you need to buy into any of that. But you can calculate some percentage over and above the number of people that are generally moving out of your market, and that's about what your turnover rate's going to be. So the best advice I could give you here on this is track it. Every single time somebody cancels, ask them why they canceled and track it. That way you can generate a report, or even if it's writing it on a piece of paper, hang it on your wall, but then you can start to figure this out, and then from year to year you'll know what to predict. One final example, we do a welcome back letter every February at our company. So one thing we found is that we would go out to the properties at the beginning of spring, and we'd have a number of clients that would call and say, "Hey, I didn't expect you to come back," or "I didn't tell you to come back this year." Even though when we sell service, it continues forever until they call to cancel. But we'd get those storylines, or people would move out of their house and they never called to cancel their service. So we send this welcome back letter out to all of our clients, and inevitably, right about February, we get a bunch of calls, and we suddenly have this big surge of cancellations. People have lost their jobs, people have sold their houses, people have moved away, people are going to do it themselves this year, whatever. And so what happens is we get rid of those people that were going to cancel after we showed up a couple times and sent them a bill. We're going to get them before that even happens, and we're not going to waste our time, and we're not going to have any conversations with them about potentially crediting their account back because they didn't expect us. So where I'm going with this is track this stuff, because what's going to happen, this is going to happen to you in your business as well. And if you start tracking this stuff and you track it by month, we do it automatically with our computer system, but I recommend you track your cancellation reasons and you track them by month. How many people canceled in January? How many canceled in February? How many canceled in March? And why did they cancel? And then you can start to see some trends. So you can predict that I lose 3% of my client base every February. I lose 2% of my client base every October. You can start to figure this stuff out, and you can start to predict it, and then you're not going to be so shocked when it happens to you. So it's part about knowing the turnover rate. So it's a very, very wise question, but it's also partly about tracking it, because then you're going to find out what happens in your business. If you read the trade journals, you're going to hear all kinds of turnover rates, and you're going to hear statistics and quotes and pay rates and wages and all kinds of stuff. And don't go out. You can't go off that stuff. You got to track everything in your business, measure it in your business, get your own turnover rates, learn the nuances of your own business, your own market, your own local area, and then you'll have some predictability in your business, and you'll know what to expect. So me giving out exactly what our turnover rates are would actually be of zero benefit to you, just because it's totally different for everybody. So but I gave you the ways to kind of back into that and figure it out. And then if you track it, you'll have all the answers you need. Thank you so much for the question.